In what ways do you need to improve your understanding of animal behavior? Make this specific and relevant to your hunt plan. For the species you are hunting, how can you better understand their behavior, habitat, patterns, etc.? So, if I use the spring bear hunt in Idaho for an example, I've never hunted bear before. It's not for lack of trying. I currently have somewhere around 5 or 6 points for black bear here in Utah, and you have to draw a tag. Um, yeah, so again, it's not for lack of trying to get a tag. It's just a lack of experience of hunting bears in general. I've been watching more videos on bears and spring bear hunting and like where to look. Um, I'd say I just need more experience. I guess where I really lack is identifying bears, sows versus boars. Um, Obviously, sows would hopefully have a cub with them, but even if they don't, I know that cubs can sometimes hang back and or not be as well seen. So that's probably the biggest gap for me is just my confidence and ability to identify a boar versus a sow. Um, Other than that, I feel like I have a fairly good grasp on the idea of where bears like to live or hang out, especially earlier months versus later months. Um, Elevation bands, things like that. Um, yeah, I think I just need to get more experience. So maybe what a good idea would be is here to try to go and scout for bears. I don't think our bear numbers are near as good or as many bears as in Idaho, hence why we don't have an over the counter tag. But it doesn't mean it would hurt to go try and look for bears and just see, like, based on my theories, can I find where bears are living? But so I guess a general overview, what I understand about black bears specifically, after they're done hibernating, um, from where their den is, they will feed, water, and den, or at least bed somewhere shaded out of the sun. That's kind of their routine. Depending on how early or late it is depends on how far they go to find food. They are herbivores, so they'll eat you know anything from grass to berries and to bugs and meat, but just what's most commonly available is likely what they're going to eat. So with the green up of spring, they're likely going to be, maybe searching for bugs, scrounging for bugs in grass or eating grass, foraging on, green vegetation. So um, in Idaho, at least how I haven't been to a specific unit, but how I picture, where a bear would be is close-ish, maybe 500 to 1,000 feet below where the snow line is, where the snow melt is, and where the sun is hitting a south-facing slope, or maybe close to it. Maybe there's a small um, kind of cut or a draw that has some timber on a north side, and then just on the other side, it's easy for a bear to go from a shaded timber area, dark where they can rest, maybe some water there, to going to a south-facing green hillside where they could feed easily. Um, I know that bears move quick, much quicker, on the move compared to elk and deer, when they're at least feeding. So I actually have an experience this past fall with a bear. Came within, maybe 10 feet of me. Didn't realize I was there at first. And yeah, he was on the move. It was probably maybe 2-year-old cub. I don't know at what age they're no longer considered a cub, but a young bear, small bear. And he was, there was some kind of berries near me, and he was foraging like on the move, on the hoof, pretty fast. And he just, ran by me, didn't know I was there. And I think he may have caught a scent of my snack I was eating. I was eating a little PB&J snack. And he came back up the hill towards me where I was eating, and kind of had his nose to the air. And I gave him a little, hey, get out of here. And he ran off. Um, but yeah, just from that experience alone from this fall, I could tell that, yeah, he's eating and he's moving pretty fast. Um, so I think just animal behavior wise, being on the glass and being prepared with your rifle, not in hand, but ready to go, or at least quickly be able to have access to it to be able to take a shot after a bear has been identified as a boar that is worth taking. Again, I think that's the biggest gap for me is for sure identifying what's a boar versus a sow. And from what I understand or remember from YouTube videos and such that I've watched, boars, tend to be big bodied and like big necks, and it makes their head look smaller than their body because their body's so big. Um, Whereas sows are their head appears to be big, it's because their body is just smaller and more slender. Um, Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments or give me some advice. Whoever watches this on is the black bear. How what are good ways to tell a sow versus a boar? That's from what I remember, but again, I need to do more research. That's the gap for me is just their behaviors on how to tell a sow versus a boar.